With the 2026 NFL season on the horizon, we get to see the return of our favorite Pro Bowl caliber stars taken to the field and making an impact on their respective teams.
Intercepted! Kevin Byard, the league leader, has another one!
Many Pro Bowlers will likely continue to produce another incredible season statistically, while some Pro Bowlers may see regression in their production during said season. Sure, some of these guys might make the Pro Bowl, maybe some won't, but other guys might be impacted by injuries, age, taking on a tougher schedule in the season, and roster changes during the offseason that can really impact a team during the regular season. So today, we're going to take a look at 10 Pro Bowlers who are set to have a huge regression year for the 2026 season. Danielle Hunter. Hunter faces potential regression during the 2026 season due to his age, as he'll be 32 by the end of the season and has a heavy workload. Hunter last made the Pro Bowl in 2024 when he made 46 tackles, 12 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and a forced fumble, while in 2025 he made 54 tackles, 15 sacks, 3 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Opposing offensive coordinators have readjusted their schemes for the upcoming 2026 season, which will likely make things difficult for Hunter. Hunter also played consecutive full seasons without missing a snap since 2021, after he missed the 2020 season with a neck injury. Maintaining that pristine health ain't gonna be easy when someone is in their 30s. Despite that, the Texans head into the 2026 regular season with the #1 defense, which Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., and Derek Stingley Jr. anchor. If Hunter were to miss some time during the season due to regression or an injury, it would have some significant impacts during the regular season. Sam Darnold. Although it was awe-inspiring to see Darnold dominate in the last 2 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks, helping them win Super Bowl 60, Darnold could see some regression in 2026. Despite leading the Seahawks to Super Bowl glory, Darnold struggled with interceptions, throwing 14 of them in 2025, which was the most he's thrown since his rookie year in 2018. Not to mention, he led the league with 11 fumbles as well. The Seahawks backfield took a hit with Kenneth Walker III's departure to the Kansas City Chiefs, Zach Charbonnet's ACL is still recovering, and rookie running back Jadarian Price has to earn his stripes, which will force Darnold to carry the offense in tough situations, which could lead to more negative plays. With the Seahawks entering the 2026 season as defending Super Bowl champions, they and Darnold have a huge target on their backs from opposing defenses wanting to exploit their offense. Darnold is also under the pressure of the 3-year, $100.5 million deal, and if he struggles, well, that could be a massive drop-off for the Seahawks offense. We do hope that Darnold has a good 2026 season, but reality does have the power to rear its ugly head during the most unexpected moments. Kevin Byard. Byard had a very nice 2025 season with the Bears as he helped them win the NFC North, reach the playoffs, defeat the Green Bay Packers in the wildcard round, and make the 2025 Pro Bowl. During the 2026 offseason, Byard signed a 1-year, $9 million deal with the New England Patriots, reuniting him with head coach Mike Vrabel. However, despite signing with the Pats, Byard will be 33 during the regular season, and that is very old for safeties, as they typically regress during the ages of 28 and 30. Byard led the league in interceptions in 2025, having 7 interceptions returned for 91 yards, but he'll likely see a drop in interceptions during the 2026 regular season. Not to mention, Byard is going to be involved in a new defensive scheme. Adjusting to a new scheme can be very tough, and that can impact a player's production on the field. Byard also faces competition from younger safeties on the roster, including second-year safety Craig Woodson, who led the league in tackles with 30 in the 2025-2026 playoffs, and is probably going to want more playing time on the field compared to Byard. Granted, Byard will provide Woodson veteran leadership, but will lose playing time to Woodson during the 2026 season. Byard's also nearing the end of his playing career, so seeing a guy like him in his 30s join a team that recently went to a Super Bowl for a chance to win another one is gonna be another sign of play regression. Davante Adams. Adams has been one of the league's best wide receivers and will likely go down as a Hall of Famer for all he's accomplished with the Green Bay Packers, Las Vegas Raiders, New York Jets, and Los Angeles Rams. However, Adams is 33 and he's going to be 34 by the conclusion of the season, and most wide receivers his age slow down and see a dip in their production. Sure, he led the league in receiving touchdowns with 14, but he had 759 receiving yards and posted career lows in catch rates at 53% and yards after catch per reception. Adams hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since the 2024 season when he had 1,063 yards playing for both the Raiders and Jets, and he's dealt with nagging injuries at this point in his career. The 2026 Rams are expected to utilize more tight ends this coming season, which will reduce Adams' snap volume, as he remains a number 2 option at wide receiver behind Puka Nacua. Adams is entering a boomer-bust season with the Rams, and if he can't perform well due to all the factors we mentioned, well, he may want to consider hanging up the cleats. Jalen Hurts. After a somewhat decent 2025 season, Hurts may see some regression in the 2026 season due to learning a new offense from new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, who has never been an offensive coordinator since, the Eagles parted ways with Kevin Patullo. Mannion will be Hurts' 7th play caller in his 6 seasons in the league. A.J. Brown was traded away in June to the New England Patriots, removing Hurts' #1 receiving target, forcing him to rely on Davante Smith as his new #1 wideout and some of the unproven talent on the roster, like Mekhi Lemon. Hurts having to adjust to a refreshed wide receiver room always brings a risk of fewer big passing plays, which leads to less overall offensive efficiency. Hurts' legs have been a huge factor in this game. However, in 2025, Hurts saw some regression from 2024 when he had 630 yards to 421 in 2025. Hurts also faced criticism for his rigid preferences to avoid throwing into tight windows or attacking the middle of the field during the 2025 season. The Eagles are still favored to win the NFC East by the end of the 2026 season, but will Hurts continue to regress, or will he prove us all wrong? That's the big question here. Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey may have played a very nice 2025 season, rushing for 1,202 yards and scoring 10 touchdowns on the ground, but he could see some serious regression in 2026. McCaffrey is 30 years old, which is typically old for running backs. This is around the time where they really see a drop in their explosiveness, efficiency, and durability. McCaffrey has had a heavy workload in 2025 and will probably see a workload hangover during this season. Not to mention, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers plan to adjust their game plan and get more younger running backs involved on offense, which will reduce McCaffrey's workload while preserving his elite volume. McCaffrey is also vulnerable to injuries, as they've derailed his 2024 season and could potentially return in 2026 from all the wear and tear that he's dealt with throughout the years. Look, we hope that McCaffrey has a productive season in 2026, but don't be surprised if he doesn't have a second straight 1,000-yard season or play in all 17 games. Baker Mayfield. Mayfield and the Buccaneers started the 2025 season on a solid note with a 6-2 record before their bye week. Then they went 2-7 after their bye week due to Mayfield's regression in the second half of the season. And well, that regression may continue in the 2026 season. Mayfield's numbers took a massive dive during the second half of 2025 as he struggled to maintain his completion percentage, his touchdown-to-interception ratio tightened, and he led the league in fumbles with 11. The 2026 season serves as a contract year for Mayfield, as it'll add a lot of stress and pressure for him to play adequately well to earn a contract extension. The Bucs fired offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard after a disastrous second half of the season, and then they brought in former Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson to take over, giving Mayfield his 4th different offensive coordinator to work with. The Bucs offense relies heavily on Mayfield to have precise footwork timing, and so when he slips up, the entire unit suffers and struggles in key moments. Mayfield also doesn't have Mike Evans to throw passes to, as he signed a 3-year, $424 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers, forcing Chris Godwin and second-year receiver Emeka Egbuka to step up. If the Bucs offense struggles in the 2026 regular season, it could force Mayfield to resort to hero ball instead of taking a check down, leading to more turnovers against opposing teams. Mayfield has a lot of work cut out for him during this upcoming season, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens from here on out. Trey McBride. Even though the Cardinals finished the 2025 season with a 3-14 record, Trey McBride had career highs, catching 126 receptions for 1,239 yards and scoring 11 touchdowns. With the 2026 regular season approaching, McBride is expected to regress, as he relied on an unsustainable workload and unique situational factors that are changing. The Cardinals hired Mike LaFleur, who's going to implement a new offensive scheme for the team to learn that'll be built around newly drafted running back Jeremiah Love and a healthy James Conner and Tyler Algier. But that means it's going to rely less on the passing attack. McBride was the only consistent target for the Cardinals in 2025 due to the team's offensive struggles and injuries that they dealt with. But the 2026 team will try to get a healthier Marvin Harrison Jr. involved in the passing attack, and Michael Wilson is expected to play a larger role in the passing attack after his breakout season. With Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and rookie Carson back in the lineup, the team is expected to see a mid-season quarterback transition, which will also hinder McBride's production. Look, don't get us wrong, McBride is still one of the best tight ends in the league, but 2026 is going to be an interesting year to see what the Cardinals offense does as they now try to diversify it. Jahmyr Gibbs. With the departure of David Montgomery, Gibbs' workload is expected to increase during the 2026 season. Sure, the Lions brought in Isaiah Pacheco, but he isn't a 1,000-yard rusher like Montgomery is, leaving Gibbs to do more of the heavy lifting. Pacheco is expected to play in more short-yardage situations that'll impact Gibbs' scoring production during the season. Gibbs could see a friction in his production as he learns a different offensive scheme from new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. Gibbs could also see a drop in efficiency, as head coach Dan Campbell named him the true bell cow back for the team. And forcing a 200-pound running back into a heavy between the tackles volume could result in diminishing efficiency or just a breakdown in his body. On top of that, the Lions exercised the fifth-year option on Gibbs' rookie contract, meaning the spotlight is truly on him to earn an extension, which adds more pressure to him during the regular season. We want to see Gibbs flourish, but we shouldn't be surprised if we see some learning curves in the Lions' new offense early on in the 2026 season. Matthew Stafford. As talented as the Rams are heading into the 2026 season, Stafford is expected to see some regression in his production. Sure, he's coming off being named the league's MVP in 2025, but he's 38 years old and isn't getting any younger. Stafford threw a league-high 46 touchdowns in 2025, but that number is likely going to dip during the 2026 season. Not to mention, the risk of injuries increases for athletes trying to compete in their late 30s, and missing any of the 17 games would hurt the Rams' chances of making the playoffs. They would have to rely on rookie quarterbacks Ty Simpson and Matthew Caldwell and veteran backup Stetson Bennett, who don't really scream Pro Bowl caliber in their names. The Rams are expected to shift towards a run-heavy offense for the 2026 season, relying on Kyren Williams and Blake Corum to take some thunder away from Stafford. Stafford's 2026 season should be very interesting to watch, as the Rams are favored to reach the Super Bowl with their offseason acquisitions. But still, Stafford must remain healthy in order to make the goal a reality. But what Pro Bowler do you think is going to have a down year here in 2026? Were there any notable names that we should have included on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.